Hey everybody, I'm Sierra,
And I'm Ben.
and welcome back to another episode of The Unsolved Couple, where every week Ben and I recap one of your original gateway drugs into true crime.
Unsolved Mysteries.
Okay, Season 3, Episode 20, Benjamin.
Yes, ma'am.
How'd you feel about this episode?
Honestly, I've already forgotten your stories.
It's like you're going to be hearing them for the first time.
No, once you start saying them, I'll remember. But no, I did not care for mine at all.
Did you care for it?
I don't know.
Once you
We'll
started,
get into
yeah.
it, but I'd have totally forgotten what yours are.
That's good. Ben's currently in a mashed potato, gravy, turkey stuffing, yam, food coma. He was half asleep on the bed 10 minutes ago.
Yes, I was.
So hopefully,
It's the day after Thanksgiving, and man, the food was so good. Hope everybody had a good Thanksgiving.
yeah, I hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving. And if you live outside of the United States and you don't get to enjoy Thanksgiving, I'm sad for you.
It's too bad.
Yeah, just come to our house next year. All international listeners are welcome to come next year to our house for Thanksgiving.
That's no, you're not. Negative. No, Thanksgiving was so good. I love it. I love all the food. I think it's becoming one of my favorite holidays. Not that I never disliked
Food and
it.
football.
I always loved it.
Yeah.
But golly, the food is so good. And then leftovers is the best.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm still recovering. I ate so much food yesterday.
And Ben can barely walk today because he played Turkey Bowl.
Yeah, we went and a bunch of people went over to the field and we played football. And
which is like it is
suffering
just
the
a tradition to like play football Thanksgiving morning.
yeah. And I'm suffering.
But Ben played with a bunch of high school boys.
There was, some high school boys. There were a lot of adults there.
Yeah.
And I'm not 20 years old anymore. My body is feeling it today.
Yeah, no, we hope everyone else did. We had a great week. I mean, I spent several hours cooking yesterday, but I love doing it. Like I've got it down to a science. And I love cooking food for people. And yeah, it was a great weekend, long weekend.
What did you think of this episode?
I thought it was really good. I really liked it. I thought it was very iconic, Unsolved Mysteries style. So, but yeah. And the second story I'm covering is one of the more infamous ones that's gone viral. And we'll get into that first, when we get there as to why. But the pictures in the intro to that one are one of the most like requested and viewed and like top hits and stuff on social media and things like that. So it'll be interesting to get to cover a more well known, but I don't know if we'll get into it. It'll make sense in a little while.
We've been at this for multiple minutes now, and I've been racking my brain on what these stories are. Still
can't remember.
Nope.
All right. Well, you guys strap in with Ben, apparently, and let me tell you guys about the mysterious death of Crystal Spencer. But before we dive in, don't forget to follow the show wherever you're listening. And if you enjoy what we're doing, please take a moment and leave us a 5-star review. It helps more people find the podcast and keeps us bringing you the mysterious cases that you love. Just think of it as an early Christmas present to your favorite podcasters. Make sure to also follow us on social media, Unsolved Couple Pod. We are on TikTok and Instagram, and share our podcast with a friend. It's like a Christmas gift to them, or a Hanukkah gift, or a Kwanzaa gift.
It's a Christmas miracle.
What was the Seinfeld Christmas holiday? Do you remember? It's going to drive me crazy now that I can't remember it. Someone is yelling it in their car.
I have no idea what you're talking
But I want to say, um, gosh, it's going to drive me crazy. I'll look it up when you're telling your story. But our first story um, is an interesting one. And I've got a lot of thoughts. So let's get after it. Ever since the cameras started rolling in Los Angeles slash Hollywood, it has been a magnet for young women hoping to make it big.
Oh, now I remember.
This was the same dream that pulled 23-year-old Crystal Spencer from her small Northern California home to LA in the summer of 1982. Crystal was known as like this tiny little girl, or tiny woman. She was barely 5 feet tall, huge personality, and this unshakable belief. It sounds like even from when she was like a child that she was meant to be in the pictures, as they would say. And like so many dreamers, the reality of Hollywood would hit hard. If you She did end up booking, according to Unsolved Mysteries, I think like a few little parts. I want to say like in some TV commercials, but endless auditions with more rejections than yeses. Eventually, the thing that ends up catching up to most people that come to Hollywood with this dream, your bills still have to get paid.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
do.
they do. That is
Bills
unfortunately a
still
part of
come due.
adulthood. Yeah, they don't care that you are doing auditions and not getting work yet. So, to survive, Crystal took a job as an exotic dancer at a place called the Wild Goose nightclub. And this was near the airport. Neon lights, cigarette haze, um, and, kind of the normal thing that people don't ask a lot of questions in these sorts of places. And I loved, you guys, this was still primetime television when this was being aired, right? So the candid B-roll of the exotic dancer club was basically her in like shorts with fishnet stockings on, hazy lights, mirror floors, and an oversized flannel shirt on.
And that like granny shawl.
Yeah, I
She like
was.
just rubbed on her shoulders.
Yeah, she was just rubbing it. She was really getting after the shoulder work on it. But um I thought it was hilarious them trying to portray the night scene in Los Angeles, California at what I actually ended up finding out was a topless bar. So I don't think there was any Shaws permitted.
There you go.
There you go. So, on a good night, according to Unsolved Mysteries, Crystal could pull in about $400 in tips. I mean, adjusted for inflation, that's about what, 3 times? So,
$1,200.
$1,200 a night? Am I in the wrong career?
Uh, I think
That's a question
there's
for
a
a different
moral
day.
standard here. There's I, you know what?
So,
I'm not gonna say
no, Ben's not opening it. That was just a complete joke, but that's a crap ton of money. No, yes, yeah.
yes.
So, but according to her friend Patty Joe, Crystal hated it. And I will say this. When I was in beauty school, and I lived in Portland, Oregon at the time. Portland, Oregon is one of the only places that these kinds of establishments have far less rules and regulations on what the female dancers are allowed to, or more importantly, don't have to wear. Um, and a lot of the girls that I went to school with did this because it's hard to have a job when you're in school. At a beauty school, you are in school all day or part of the day, and then you're on the floor. And so, well, you're not making any money, but you're working at like a full functioning salon inside the beauty school. And so, a lot of girls I went to school with worked in adult entertainment bars after school hours. And they all, like, at first was like, "Oh, I'm making all this money," which I'm sure is great, but within a few weeks, or if not months, they all hated it. They hated everything about it, and it was, my friend called it, uh, golden handcuffs, because she's never made that kind of money in her life. But at the same time, it came with a heavy emotional burden. And sadly, I know a few of them that didn't even finish school because they never got out of that lifestyle. And it seems like Crystal was kind of struggling with this as well. She would break down crying, saying that she felt degraded and ashamed of what she had to do to pay her bills. By day, hopeless and hopeful actress, and by night, she was part of Hollywood's dark underbelly. And she lived her life like this day in and day out. Enter May of 1987. Crystal was invited to a barbecue and hoping to network with people who might actually help her career. Um, she goes to this barbecue and she bumps into a man, 37-year-old uh, Anton Klein, an aspiring screenwriter and PhD candidate in history. He was a lover of museums, classical concerts, basically the exact opposite of what Crystal's nightlife had kind of forced her to become. Anton fell pretty quickly, or at least seemed very intrigued by Crystal. And Crystal, who at times said that she was craving stability and something normal, also seemed to find him as someone she wanted to spend her life with, at least as much as this is portrayed on Unsolved Mysteries. My side research, there is some different information out there, but we're recapping the episode. Anton introduced her to things she'd never experienced: fine arts, symphonies, took her to museums, and all the while, he had no idea in the 4 months that they had been spending time together that she was working as an exotic dancer. Her friend Patty said that Crystal was terrified he would find out and that she really needed to like quit dance before he figured out what she was doing. However, about that 4 month mark, a neighbor of all people saw her on the stage and then told Anton about it. Like, yeah, I saw your girlfriend up on the dance stage last night at this topless bar. He was really upset by this. He was shocked, he was frustrated. But according to him, even though he experienced those anger issues and was caught off guard and embarrassed, that he also was okay and would went on to accept it.
I will say this too. The friend said that also.
That he accepted it.
The friend said that Crystal told her that he was good because I kind of thought the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because Antoine's interviewed in
Mm-hmm.
this.
Yeah,
He's
he's the
telling
main
part of the
talking head in
story.
this. Yeah.
And so he tells you I was fine with it. Okay. But when the friend came in and said that she'd heard from Crystal that was I was like, okay, maybe there is
I
truth in
think
that.
though being fine with it and it's still potentially having a sore spot or maybe a point of contention, both things could be true. I mean,
Yeah,
yeah.
maybe. I don't know.
Ben, I have something to confess to you.
What's that?
For the last 20 years, I've had a job at nighttime.
Be interesting. It's your home, and I'm just wondering when that
It's
happens.
after you go to bed, but before you get up at 4 in the morning.
Interesting.
So between
Good luck.
midnight and 4 a.m.
And I know that that's not true because you hate getting up and you love your sleep. So
No, I
there's
could
no
not
way.
work. I mean, there's a lot of reasons why I wouldn't work in this industry, but anything that would involve me being up past like 10 o'clock at night,
Exactly.
I'm out. I
already
wouldn't
know.
be a good employee. You'd find me asleep somewhere. Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Continue.
Um, so to Crystal, she was happy that he accepted it and said that she and him were going to work through it and stay together. She continued into some acting classes, she took comedy workshops, and was still trying to crawl her way into a better life. Wednesday, May 4th, 1988, Crystal was home with what she thought was the flu. Anton visited and they talked about a job offer that had come up, as she mentioned to him that she had gotten approached about a quote hostess girl in Japan for a 3-month gig. She didn't know for sure if she had been hired, but she was excited and a little scared to be traveling abroad. She told a friend that she was uneasy about the offer, but never explained why. On the night of May 5th, so the very next night, Anton spoke to her by phone, a normal 15-minute conversation, and she said that she was starting to feel better. He hung up, and that was the last time he'd ever heard from Crystal. Later that same night, Crystal called her sister saying that she felt sick and wanted to talk to their mother, but couldn't find the phone number. In my side research, I found out that Crystal's mom and her seemed to have somewhat of a precarious relationship, and her mom had actually changed numbers so that Crystal couldn't get a hold of her unless it was for emergencies only.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Um, And so when Crystal's sister got this phone call, she actually thought Crystal was being over dramatic and was really not sick, but lying and pretending to be able just to get her mom's phone number. So she didn't give her the mother's phone number and told Crystal to just go to bed, and she talked to her in the morning.
Okay.
Yeah. We'll get more into it later, but because it seemed weird to me. And, anyways, yeah. And then something happened after that phone call. Neighbors even claimed to have heard something that they would never forget. Two neighbors, Susan and Jet Taylor, who lived directly below Crystal's apartment, say around 4 a.m. on Saturday, May 7th, they woke up with what they could only describe as strange, intermittent wailing. At first, they assumed that something intimate was happening upstairs and tried to ignore it. But as it went on, it started to sound more sinister. Susan said, quote, someone's being tortured. Someone is being hurt. Jet described it as a sound that someone would make if you lit a cigarette and pressed it repeatedly into their skin. Very weird descriptive thing.
Yeah.
Moaning, choking, crying. Susan, the girlfriend at the time, begged for her fiance or boyfriend to call the police. And Jet said, no,
I don't want to get
I don't want
involved.
to get involved.
And that isn't hearsay. That is
No,
him
you
being
guys,
interviewed and him saying that on
on
Unsolved
national
Mysteries.
television. And you guys, this was not some like skinny, dorpy guy or some man in his late 80s who maybe didn't have the strength to defend himself.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't take much to pick up a phone and dial 911.
Yeah. And I also found in my side research this girl that he was married or engaged to, Susan, was like Miss California or something. They both of these people, this was a nice higher end apartment. This was not in like a shady part of town. This was a nice apartment complex, but it took some money to be able to live there. And so to me, if you hear something, you call the police. Do you remember that one time I called the police on our neighbor?
Yes.
Have I told that story on the podcast?
It's possible.
It's possible.
But
I don't remember either, but you and I don't usually get really involved in people's business much. We respect that. But when we lived in apartments, you hear a lot of stuff. And I'm sure people listening to this can completely relate to hearing things. And we lived on bottom apartments, and I never knew who lived above us, but I swear half the time they were having bowling parties up in there or clogging classes. But we lived in this indoor apartment that you had to like use a key to get into the front door locked. And all of the units were like the front door was in a hallway and the walls were paper thin. And we had an old lady that lived next to us. And one night while we were sleeping, I started hearing banging on the wall. And it sounded like someone was banging on a pipe or something. And her bathroom would have backed up to our living, or her bedroom and the main bedroom and the main bathroom would have backed up to our living room. Anyways, long story short, I woke Ben up. Ben even heard the noise. And my biggest concern is that this older woman living by herself had fallen in the bathroom and had broken her hip or something. And we called the police, and the fire department came, banged on her front door for several minutes. No one came to the door. So they broke in because they heard it too. Like we all heard something. The lady was sound asleep in her bed, terrified to find a bunch of
Yeah, police
firemen.
officer woke her up in her bed, and she was terrified to
Yeah.
find that. And then we had to tell her the next day that it
I'm
was us.
so sorry. Yeah. But yeah. And Ben would have typically been the kind of person that's like, that was that's the exact thing that most people didn't want to have. The scenario would have been it was a terrible scenario that this woman was woken up in the dead of sleep. She'll probably never forget that. And I felt terrible. But at the same time, the other scenario is that someone was in trouble and needed help, and to have ignored it, I would have never gotten on national television and then just been like, I don't want to get involved with it. So, anyways, Jet's like, man, no, we're not calling anybody. He tells his girlfriend to chill out and go back to bed. A week later, Crystal would be found dead in her apartment. On Friday the 13th, the neighbor started to complain of an odor. Police entered the apartment and found that her body was badly decomposed and to have been dead for close to a week. She was found nude from the waist down in the corner of apartment with an entangled phone cord around her neck, and the receiver had been off the hook. Which would explain that the boyfriend who had been trying to get a hold of her but kept getting a busy signal. Anton had wildly assumed that she had just gone to Japan without saying goodbye. And
Was gonna call him when she got there.
even though she'd only told him about it 24 hours before that she had heard about this job.
I have a lot of questions on this.
Okay. But she hadn't left for Japan. She was in the apartment the whole time. Um, the I Okay, according to Unsolved Mysteries, there was no drugs or alcohol found in her system. But according to another report, they did find traces of marijuana in her system,
Okay.
but no hard, crazy drugs, I guess. No obvious signs of injury, but that could have been due to the advanced state of the body. And no obvious signs of self induced death. So the coroner ruled the case undetermined. And yet, the autopsy was full of discrepancies. The boyfriend went on to actually request the autopsy report, and 4 months later, he was able to get it. And he said that Crystal was listed height at 5'7", but she was barely over 5 foot, 140 pounds, and well nourished. But he said that she was around 105, and actually, with kind of her lifestyle and stuff living, wasn't what you would consider a well nourished looking person. Also, no mention of metal plates and pins in her ankle, despite a full body x ray. But the fingerprints were confirmed by two different sources. So the boyfriend's starting to push back and ask questions.
You just think they did a poor job.
Mm-hmm. The DA's office comes back to them and just tells the people that these are clerical errors, saying that her fingerprints match, so that's really all that matters. But Anton believed that if they were really not doing their job, what else could they have missed? And he even suggests at one point that this is some sort of possible cover up. He claims that when he pushed investigators, one law enforcement official told him, quote, bad things happen to bad girls. When Anton asked, quote, you mean bad girls die of natural causes? The officer replied, quote, You know what I mean, and hung up. 2 weeks after she was found, her ashes were scattered beneath the Hollywood sign, the symbol that would have drawn her to LA in the first place, and a dream that never became a reality. And that's kind of where Unsolved Mysteries leaves us.
Okay.
Okay.
Update.
Update. Unsolved.
I guess, did the police investigate it?
N- No, I don't think so. They kind of ruled this as natural causes, believing that she died of the flu of some sort, got very ill, and that was the sounds that the neighbors heard was her having some violently ill attack. She'd been maybe trying to call for help and blacked. I don't know. No, it
Okay.
never really had been. But if you spend any moment on time online looking at Reddit threads and the Unsolved Mysteries board, you're going to get some theories. One big theory in particular. So, a few of the theories are jealous boyfriend. Could this be a stalker? Could this be a cover up? There is a man on the Unsolved Mysteries website. On the bottom of this page, they have a message board, right? And there is a man or I'm assuming it's a man that goes by the name um, George, but spelled with a J, Jorge. Jorg. He has responded to every single post that people have put on there, even if it's just like, oh, this is such a sad story, yada, 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 right?
Uh-huh.
He seems to have an obsession with this case. Um, Over and over and over again, he claims that he knew Crystal personally and that according to him, Crystal never told anyone that she was leaving for Japan. This was not known to her family, not known to her friends, not known to anybody. Um, that there was no paperwork. She didn't have a passport or a visa, anything to be able to go to Japan. And that he wants to point out that the boyfriend, Anton, insisted upon her being cremated and then actually paid for it to be done and wanting to get it over done quickly. Um, he said that Anton was far more controlling than portrayed in the show Unsolved Mysteries. And Crystal often made comments about being nervous or scared of someone, but never said who. And that he also pointed out that Crystal was actually dating multiple men, and that was kind of part of what she did in her life at this time with her career, and that Anton was far more believable that they were solid boyfriend and girlfriend, and she was just, he was a well off, smart guy that enjoyed her company.
But this is all coming from.
Some random guy on a message board. Yeah. I mean, I think he brings up a few good points that if she got this job in Japan, where's any ounce of, and for him to say, she told me Thursday night she's going to Japan, and then Friday I never hear from her again, and I assume that she just left. If this man is also
Yeah, the whole thing, because I actually even went back on my calendar and looked at 1988 and looked. I'm like, dude, so you're telling me you went a whole week and a half without
Mhm.
talking to her or stopping by her place?
Yeah. Those are other things he brings up, is that he was known to come by her place often.
Well, you were just there
Yeah.
Wednesday,
Mhm.
and then she's decomposing for a week and a half, and you've
And
not
you're
been wondering where she's been. You haven't heard from her.
also supposedly the only person that she told was going to Japan, even though she had a huge network. She didn't even let, he said that according to this guy on Messenger board, she hadn't put in for a breaking her lease notice. She hadn't told the men that owned the club that she danced at that she wasn't going to be there. Like, she did no prep for it. So he doesn't think that was actually even true.
I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
I thought it was strange. That was the only part of the story I was I mean, I guess there's a
Yeah.
lot, but
There's a few other speculations. Was Anton more invested in the relationship than Crystal was, which then led to some sort of jealousy or even potential outburst of anger to find out that, you know, he was being played or used,
um,
you know? And or with her line of work, did she form a stalker of some sort that stalked her at the club? Was she followed and targeted because of this? And then the most dark suggestion I can find is that the police dismissed her job because of, quote, she was a bad girl. So she wasn't worth the time and resources. And not that the police were covering it because they necessarily knew who did it, but they covered up the fact that they just didn't care. And so,
but that also is coming from Antoine. That
yeah,
information
that
that the
same
police
information.
are saying
Yeah.
that and that they're not
Yeah.
investigating. You're also getting it from the person that everyone is pointing the finger at, which we have no idea. So I don't
Hmm.
know. A lot of unreliable. Unfortunately, the police and none of her family members were interviewed
Yeah.
in this.
So, from what I can tell, from all the rumors and everything, if you strip everything away, the one thing that I can say is that the investigation was treated casual from day one. And it's not the first time we've seen that. It's LA. Is it possible that they were just completely overloaded and it was easier to say this was natural and not? But Crystal ultimately potentially paid the price for it. There's no evidence that she died of natural causes, but there's no evidence that she didn't either.
But we also don't know because they didn't investigate and they didn't
Exactly.
release any information.
Yeah.
So we have no idea.
Yeah. So we don't know. And I don't think we probably ever will in cases like this. It just reminds us that, unfortunately, not everyone gets the truth, even though we all deserve it. And no one should have their stories dismissed because of what they do for a living. Because is it possible that there might still be someone out there today who still knows what really happened to this poor girl? So, kind of a sad story. All right, Ben, look at you prepared. You got your notes all ready for us.
Yep.
All right.
Yepers.
So, just because Ben only has to tell one story today, but it
Yeah.
was,
Ooh, that was a rough one. All right. And I hate how they tell this story. I hate a lot of
I wonder
things.
how many times you've said, well, we both have had problems with how Unsolved Mysteries
I
tell
do.
stories.
I just get irritated with unsolved mysteries altogether. All right. This so we get introduced to a lady named Kathy. Okay. Uh, in 1986, Kathy's a 27-year-old, and she starts waking up, and she has this little spot in her eye that's dark, and she notices it, and it's like, I don't know, it'll go away. And as several days go by, and it's not going away, and it's getting bigger. So she goes and sees an ophthalmologist, and she is diagnosed with optic neuritis, which it's something.
It doesn't sound good.
No, but she learns that she could possibly, because of this, go blind. So, of course, that worries her. I think that would worry
Yeah,
us all,
anyone.
right?
She's young.
Yeah. So she says that she went to see multiple ophthalmologists, and they all diagnosed her with the same thing. And they tell her, well, we can try treating it. And one of the treatments for it is steroids. But Kathy says, I'm not going to do steroids. That sounds dangerous. So she goes and sees a different doctor. They're not going to tell us what it is now. We're going to learn about it later. But this doctor has been versed in the ways of Edgar Casey. All right. Did you ever hear of Edgar Casey, Sierra?
No.
Oh, get ready. Get ready. Okay. Edgar Casey, he became famous in the 1920s
Hmm.
for being a dietitian.
Okay. A
Diagnosis.
diagno a
Diagnotician.
a diagno dino
Diagnostician.
dino.
He became known for being able to diagnose things.
Okay.
I can diagnose things. But even though he had no medical training, he supposedly, Robert Stack tells us, he did over 9,000 diagnoses while in a deep self-induced trance. Can you believe that? He self-induced a trance on himself.
Is that just a nap?
Pretty much. Okay.
Okay.
We get told of some of his success stories. Okay.
Okay.
1937, a lady was diagnosed with something. I could try to say this. I wrote it down, but it's some disease that makes your skin harden. Okay. We don't get told what he told her
Yeah,
to
watching
do.
that unlocked a new fear for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Casey prescribed numbers of treatments and it immediately went into remission. We don't get told what they were, what he prescribed, what he told her to do. But she supposedly did an interview years later and she credits him for her amazing recovery from this skin hardening condition. I've never heard of it. So then in 1976, a 6-year-old Andrew Sinon, he had been diagnosed with severe sclerosis and followed his thing. We don't get told what he was told to do or what treatments Casey told him to do, but 4 months later, the cirrhosis was gone.
Poof.
Gone. So Robert Stack comes in. Was Casey, was he real? What was this? What is going on? How did he do this? Who is this guy?
Yeah, great questions.
All right, let's find out. Edgar Casey grew up, he was born in the 1800s, grew up. We get told of when he was 13, he discovered his abilities. His father comes in and starts quizzing him on his schoolwork. Well, Edgar Casey had fallen asleep on his spelling book. And when his dad quizzes him on all of this stuff, guess what?
What?
He remembers everything. He can spell every word in that book and even tell him the page number that it's on. So from there on out, and at this point, we're getting interviewed with Edgar Casey's son, who's also named Edgar Casey. He's telling us these stories about his dad. So from there on out, he would just sleep on books and he'd be able to retain all of it and know everything that was in there. So,
Goals.
yeah. When he was 23, he lost the ability to talk for a year. So that's weird. So his family convinced him to go to a hypnosis. Okay. And as he was hypnotized, he starts talking for the first time. And everyone's amazed. Holy crap. How is he talking? He's under hypnosis. And in his little hypnosis trance, he starts telling about, I'm sorry, are you okay over there? Like,
Are you talking to me?
who else am I talking to?
I'm trying to be respectful of your story. I told you
Sears
I
was
was
on her phone. Like,
No, I told you I was not going to interrupt as much this time.
I don't care.
But the people care. At least two
I
people
am
have left reviews saying that I interrupt too much.
I don't care about the other people. All right.
But no, in all
like you
honesty,
were on something.
I'm looking for our question to ask at the end of the podcast because I forgot to prep for that. But
All right.
now everyone knows I'm falling behind on my schedule.
So he sees this hypnosis. While he's in this trance, he starts talking about his own condition and how to overcome it. He wakes up from the hypnosis and coughs up blood.
That is disgusting.
And now he's able to talk. Okay.
Okay.
I guess if he was just going to wake up and cough up blood, why did he need to diagnose himself? I don't know.
Then miracles can't be explained. How did 2 loaves and some fishes feed the crowd?
Well, that was That
That was a
was
miracle.
that was the savior.
I
That's
know.
totally different. Like what?
A miracle's a miracle is a miracle.
All right. So because of this one hypnosis thing, I don't understand this. Casey's doctor starts saying, "Hey, maybe you can diagnose other people." So he starts putting himself in these trances and doing diagnosis. But then he got upset because he found out people were trying to ask him questions for their own personal gain, like the lottery or who was going to win the horse
Yeah,
race.
people were trying to use his gifts for negative.
And he said,
No.
no, absolutely not. So he gives it up. He says, I'm not. He walks away from it. They move to Alabama and he becomes a photographer. Okay. But they had two sons, Edgar and Hugh. And Hugh Lynn,
Egger, your skin's hanging off your bones.
it's hanging off your bones. Hugh Lynn gets injured in a dark room explosion and injures his eyes, and he might lose his sight. And so the doctor comes in and says, "Listen, I think he's going to lose one eye, and he very well could lose the other eye." So Edgar, who has not attempted a diagnosis in so long, his son asks him to do it, so he does it. And he puts himself in the trance and attempts to diagnose and treat his son. And he comes up with, at the time, was a very uncommon to put tannic acid on the eyes. I don't even know what that is.
If someone told me to put something with the name acid in my eyes, I don't think I'd roll that dice.
But amazingly, it worked. 6 weeks later, Hugh regained his sight with no repercussions. So from that, word starts spreading, and Edgar becomes pretty famous for that. So
Mhm.
in 1925, they moved to Virginia Beach, and he opens up a center, an Edgar
Okay.
Casey Center.
Like a physical location.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there he starts doing readings.
Okay.
And usually his son comes on and tells us like he was only doing like 2 readings a day, but they start getting thousands upon thousands of letters asking for readings and all that, to the point where he then is doing almost 10 a day. He's putting himself in this trance and doing that, which is exerting himself a ton. And in June 3rd, 1945, they say due to this of him, because he just felt bad, he wanted to help as many people as possible. So he was kind of overexerting himself. He suffers from a massive stroke and dies.
That's too bad.
That's terrible. But we're told that there's 120,000 pages of readings at this center.
Yeah, he has like a library that he's written.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that now we're back to Kathy.
Okay. Kathy's
So
back.
Kathy went to a chiropractor, and this chiropractor, John Pagano, he had studied Casey's readings and all these things that he'd done. And Casey had said for vision problems, not maybe specifically her diagnosis, but for vision problems, to adjust these certain areas in the neck and
Okay.
back. And so he started doing that to Kathy, and within 7 days, her sight is restored.
Okay. Awesome.
No more black spot. So we get a professor. I'm a little confused on what his expertise are in the medical field,
Well,
but
he's
he's
got
a
opinions.
professor,
Yeah.
Paul Kurtz, and he just thinks that Casey's a fraud and that this is just the placebo effect, that people think,
But I guess I would counterpoint is the placebo effect has been studied and is real. So does that make this man a fraud or does it make him someone?
So yeah, I don't know. This is just Paul Kurtz thing.
I
So
know he's very opinionated on
Yeah.
this guy.
that he doesn't think anyways.
Yeah, he
But
thinks
then
this is
Robertson
all.
comes back and is like, listen, like, so who is he? Is he really? They say the medical world doesn't accept Casey's diagnoses and that, but they
Mhm.
also don't deny it.
Okay.
So what do we know? And Barbara Stack says, only time will tell.
Okay. So what has time told us, Ben?
All right. Are you ready for your
Yep.
update? Okay. Time has told us nothing.
Good.
Uh Actually, I shouldn't say that. Time has told us that people still accept us. Hold
Okay.
on. Let me pull it up. I'm trying to find
The center is still there today.
it is still there. And
Yeah.
there's more. So sorry, I'm trying to pull up.
That's
It's
okay.
so that center is still there. Though there's a library still there.
Mhm.
And
There's a spa.
there is a spa there.
Sounds like my kind of place.
I don't know,
Where's this located at?
Virginia Beach. And it's got like the ARE. I'm
ARE.
trying to find what that stands for because I'm sure a lot of people know what that stands for. They call it now like the Edgar Casey.
I know what AARP is. That's for old people,
Is it for old people?
right? Isn't like when you start to get to like age 55, AARP?
Yeah.
I know what triple A is.
Golly.
All right. Did you find anything?
Yeah. All right. So Association for Research and Enlightenment
Okay.
is what it stands for.
That
Yes, that place is still there. It's in Virginia Beach. It's technically kind of um taken a hold throughout the US and even in parts of the world. It appears that this is kind of what's the word I'm looking
like a
for?
more naturopathic style of
Yes,
medicine.
thank you.
Okay.
And I know that there's a lot of people out there they don't like
Western medicine is what we would call
modern
it. Yeah.
medicine or they you know I'm or the modern medicine kind of last where a lot of people would rather go. And that's what this appears to kind of be a big proponent of, or
Okay.
maybe the groundwork for it. I don't know because I don't know that world because I haven't stepped into it. But there's a library there. There's it is clearly still it's still a massive thing. There's edwardcasey.org if you want to go there.
Yeah.
You can look up his readings, his things. You can study it even
Interesting.
online. So yeah, it's clearly it looks like it's kind of the backbone for natural path, which you know what? I
I'm not opposed to it.
yeah,
I'm
I'm
a
not
big component of why can't I, because I will say people seem to really fall in one or two camps. People that are very, very into sort of naturopathic healing are very, very anti modern medicine. And a lot of highly educated modern medicine people are anti that. Um,
I think
I
there's a place for
think there's a
both.
place for both. I think the biggest concern that I have for potentially in the world of naturopath that there is a lot of scams and stuff available. I don't know if you ever saw the documentary Apple Cider Vinegar,
No.
but like this girl claimed that she was basically cured from like a naturopath center in Mexico somewhere where she went on like a 14-day juice cleanse and like only ate organic local grown X, Y, or Z. And she sold a book about it, a cookbook, made millions off of it. People died from trying to heal themselves with her remedies and suggestions. Turns out she actually never had cancer, was never sick like at all, just lied about it. And so, but again, the same thing, you could say that the pharmaceutical companies mass manipulate stuff. And so,
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to get into a debate about medicine or that. It just appears that it looks like a place that still is pushing for,
the research and development of
but
naturopathic,
it still clearly has all of his stuff and that. If you do some research on him, you're going to get mixed results.
I'm sure you will.
He's now, I will say, in everything I found, everyone refers to him as like the sleeping prophet.
Yeah.
And the prophet is used a lot with his name. Now, I'm not saying that's him or his family that has done
Yeah.
that, or if that unfortunately, people, there's so much out there that it's there. Like there's YouTube
Oh, I'm
videos
sure
and
there
all
is.
that stuff.
This man probably could have started a cult if he wanted to.
So, and I don't think that was his intention, but I
Mm-mm.
also don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's a lot of people that refer to him as a prophet. That I'm not willing to go down.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that say he made a lot of predictions.
Mhm.
I I watched multiple YouTube videos on him. He said by the year 2001, Florida and California would be underwater. That our
Global
pole,
warming.
yeah, that will, and that our polar axes would be flipped and switched, and all this. He made a lot of supposedly
Big predictions.
big predictions. So it appeared that he didn't just make predictions on medical stuff, that he
Yeah.
also made other predictions.
Yeah.
What all those were.
I don't think he slept on books and absorbed them.
If you want my honest opinion on that, uh, yeah, because he portray that he could sleep books and retain all this stuff, even though he
Yeah.
wasn't, uh, didn't. I think he had a photographic memory.
Yeah, I
It's
think
my own
so
personal
too.
opinion. We know that that does exist out there.
Mhm.
I think he probably could just look at a book and skim through it and retain a ton of information.
Yeah.
And then he was maybe in his sleep, he was able to
Process that and yeah.
regurgitate that information. I
Yeah.
don't know. But yeah, I definitely don't think he slept on books and just from sleeping on them, he got all of it. Probably just looked through them and had a photographic memory and could pick things back up. I don't know. I don't know. It
Yeah.
appears that the man tried to do good things.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, there's no way that the world has been able to completely disregard it or
Embrace it
completely
100%.
embrace it. So
Yeah.
we're in the same exact position 40 years later or whatever as we are today. But so whatever.
Oh, I mean, he sounds like it was an interesting, excuse me, it was an interesting story, I thought.
Yeah.
Interesting man, highly intelligent,
And here's the thing, like
obviously.
I believe this lady, she clearly was diagnosed with
Yeah.
something and she clearly has her sight back. So
Who am I to take
yeah,
that
I
away?
believe that she this s-
Yeah.
something happened and I'm not and clearly she attributes it to the being adjusted and
Yeah.
we do know that the body is connected.
Yeah.
So
And I believe that people have gifts too. Highly intelligent people, or, I don't know. I don't know what that gift looks like, but I do believe that people have gifts and they are used correctly to benefit the people that they come in contact with.
yeah, I'm sure there's like I said, there is rabbit holes
Oh,
on
I
this
can
guy
only
and I could
imagine.
only go down so many.
Well, and that's what I meant when I said, like, if he had been a sinister person with kind of his new age stuff at the time he did, this man could have formed a cult and really, like, J.R. Hubbard or whatever, the Scientology guy, could have really leaned into this. And he didn't take that path.
Well, and that was it appears that the people that do attack him on maybe some of the wild predictions he might have made about the world. But what I couldn't find, and maybe I just missed it, is when they attacked him on what he was trying to do naturopathically or
Mm-hmm.
medically or whatever, there wasn't a lot. It appears that a lot of people embrace that and it's helped people. Maybe there's some
Yeah.
people that are embracing it and it hasn't helped them.
Yeah.
I don't know. It clearly doesn't look like it's killed people.
Yeah.
So that avenue, it looks like that avenue is what has grown since his time.
Yeah. And I will say, there has even been scientific people, well educated, that have made kind of some of the same predictions with axis shifting and water changes and stuff like that. He just made them a lot earlier than people did. So, okay. Well, interesting. So, have you ever taken a slow Sunday drive on an empty highway,
That's right.
windows cracked, 90s country music, crispy cold Diet Coke,
Church in a Chevy, baby.
and a hot man with his hat on backwards sitting next to you, driving you down a
I haven't.
2-lane highway?
I haven't driven with a hot dude next to me. Sounding bad.
Okay. Nothing on the agenda, but just a casual afternoon. It can also at times feel very isolated, maybe eerie and quiet when you are the sole person out or sole two people out on these empty roads. For Ray and Marie Thornton, a casual drive through rural southern Michigan in April of 1990 became the beginning of a nightmare. They legitimately stepped into a horror film. One, they stumbled into completely by accident, and that the rest of us would only learn about because of Unsolved Mysteries. And then later, a movie.
This movie totally ripped off this.
100%.
Whoever wrote Jeepers Creepers
Mm-hmm.
watched this as a kid,
Mm-hmm.
or
It had some impact on them as a
and it
kid.
stuck with them.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the thing: I'm here for it.
Yeah.
Look, people, we're gonna get there. Trust me.
Mm-hmm.
But Sarah's gonna tell you this story, and we're just whoever watched it then wrote the story of Jeepers Creepers. The
100%
beginning of Jeepers Creepers
is ripped directly out of it.
is literally real life.
Ripped out of like almost shot for shot in some of
Yeah.
the
100%.
I'm actually surprised that no one has ever filed a lawsuit for creative rights over it. I don't know what you could be, but
No,
artists have
because
done it before. But Ben, even cinematically, the camera angles and shots are exactly the same.
yeah, but it's just a retelling. It's not like someone stole the story.
No, I know someone told a story, but that is still a creative thing that you're not supposed to take that
I
for
don't know.
people.
It is wild to me how much this
From what I could read, the people that had anything to do with the creating of Jeepers Creepers have never acknowledged or commented on the similarities.
But you know what would be crazy? Is if they had never actually seen this. And it just so happened that
that would be impossible. If they came
Maybe.
out and said, "Oh, Unsolved Mysteries, I ain't never watched that show in my life," I would say, yeah, freaking right.
All right.
Okay.
Continue.
So it started with a little road trip game that actually, thanks to Jeepers Creepers, a lot of us went on to play in high school and early adult life, which was spotting license plate and calling out the letters and trying to figure out what the custom license plate names were trying to say, just as a form of entertainment. Ben and I have played this our whole marriage from this movie.
Yeah.
And as they're out driving, a van blows past them, speeds up behind him. You see in the reenactment, kind of hovers behind him for a second and then swerves around him and cuts him off. And the van blows past him, and Marie glances at the plate and jokes, GZ. Geez, he's in a hurry. So GZ as in the letter GZ. Geez, he's in a hurry. A silly moment, a throwaway line. Little did they know the impact that was going to have. A few minutes down the road, the same van was waiting for them, pulled up beside an abandoned schoolhouse. And at the time, the driver wasn't speeding around in the parking lot. Nope. He was unloading what looked like a bloody bundle of sheets. And I am joking you not. I turned on Jeepers Creepers the other day, and the shot in Unsolved Mysteries, they're driving by and you see this man like through the trees, right? Because you're in the POV as the person in the car. And through the trees and driving past, you see this man carrying bloody sheets.
And
it
the
is
van's like parked in the back of
between a giant
school.
abandoned school, the van, and then this giant circle thing. Now it's not a chute that goes underground like Jeepers Creepers, but it is like a giant like water tank of some sort. So very exact same. No joke. The man carrying the sheets and the man carrying the bloody bodies, the cinematic shots are exactly identical. It's crazy.
You should take screenshots of those two.
People have. I was actually going to do that. It was going to take me a ton of time because you have to be careful because, again, I don't own the rights to these movies or this. So you have to be careful with that. But it's all over. When I looked it up, I wasn't the first one to be like, I have a couple questions here.
So we didn't
relate to the game, actually. Yeah. And so, and just like that, Ray and Marie realized that the joke was over. This was no longer a fun Sunday afternoon. So they keep driving, unsure of what they had actually seen, until the van once again speeds up and is seen in their rearview mirror, roaring right up next to their bumper. And for the next 2 miles, stalks them down the highway. Honestly, like something straight out of a horror film. And then suddenly veers off the shoulders. And this is where Ray is the difference between him and the other guy in the first story, makes a very important choice, and maybe even a dangerous one. He turns his vehicle around. If something bad had happened, he wanted that plate number. But as they crept by the van a second time, the situation became terrifyingly clear. The entire inside of the van was coated in blood. And I would say this is when Jeepers Creepers went a very different direction than Unsolved Mysteries. So while the first part of this is very much seems like the inspiration for the entire film of Unsolved Mystery of Jeepers Creepers, this is where the stories completely differ because spoiler alert, this man is not going to turn into a gargoyle and jump down on the hood of their car. So that's not what happened in this Unsolved Mystery segment. He still is a monster, but in a very different way. So I cannot even imagine the fear too. You've seen this guy in a bloody sheet. Now your husband has turned the vehicle around. You're slow driving past it, and the entire inside of his van is covered in blood. I would pee my pants.
Yeah.
But they even take it a step further, you guys. So they had no idea that in the earlier hours before this interaction between a man and a woman who were going through a bitter divorce would lead to the violence that they had witnessed inside that vehicle. Marilyn Dupree was a guidance counselor, and the person whose office every teenager in Caldwell High School passed at least once. She was well liked, warm, pleasant. She was the opposite of her husband, who seemed to drift further and further away from reality. Dennis was a property assessor, withdrawn, angry, and had to begin to accuse his wife of turning their 3 children against him. She didn't deny it anymore. At one point that she was miserable. She told friends that she was ready to get out of this relationship. Dennis had turned into a horrible human being to be around. After 18 years of marriage, she files for divorce. And from that moment forward, she lived with a man who was no longer her husband, but had still tried to keep control of her life. He actually kept the guest house in the divorce and was like living there part time or full time. It was very confusing on Unsolved Mysteries, but he basically was living on the same piece of property as his wife, ex wife, and kids. And he would break into her home even after she changed the locks. The kids dreaded their visits with their dad. It was a slow burning situation, the kind that doesn't explode until it does. Enter April 15th. Dennis arrives to pick up the kids for their bi-weekly visit. Their youngest daughter had already refused to go, and their son Scott did not want to leave the house either. And when Marilyn tried to mediate, Dennis snaps. He grabs her and shoves her down the stairs, and at the bottom begins brutally beating his ex-wife in front of his children.
That guy's a monster.
Yeah. Screaming for him to stop at the top of their lungs, the oldest daughter runs out of the house and runs to a neighbor's to call the police. These kids aren't young. They're like teenagers.
It's just terrible.
It's terrible. Dennis then carries Marilyn, badly injured, unconscious or kind of coming in and out of conscious, back up the stairs and tells the kids, I'm taking her to the hospital, shoves her in the back of his van and leaves. But he didn't take her to the hospital. Ben?
Took her to the schoolyard.
By that afternoon, a statewide search was underway. And that's exact same time when Ray and Marie Thornton saw a man carrying bloody sheets behind an abandoned school and a van that would soon be tied to to the disappearance. So after Dennis roars off the road and the Thorntons turn back towards the schoolhouse and they see the bloody car, they decide to go back to the schoolhouse. I could not believe it. I'm watching this like, have you guys not seen the movie Jeepers Creepers? This does not go well. It goes okay for them. They're fine. Get that out, fair warning. But they go back to the school and start rooting around to see if they can find what Dennis has thrown away. And in the back corner of like the school field, they find sheets just dripping in blood. And that's at the moment that they decide,
We better call the police.
we better get out of here and call the police. So by the time the investigators arrived, they knew who they were dealing with. Dennis Dupree. The track tires matched his van. The blood on the sheets came back to his ex-wife, Marilyn, and still they could not find her. The next day, the truth emerged. Highway workers in Bethel Township found her body along a deserted road. She had been shot in the back of the head. Over the following days, friends and family began receiving bizarre, rambling letters from Dennis, like multiple pages long. They were confessions, but also justifications. 17 of them in total. He wrote 17 multi-page letters to people. An eye for an eye, he kept saying, like,
this guy's a psychopath.
Yeah, justifying that she got what she deserved. She was asking for it.
Well,
and
I think he said something like, she's ruined my life, so I've ruined hers, or something like that.
And then he told everyone too in these letters that he was going to go take his own life, that was the only way this was going to end. And I can't even remember how he justified it, but he was talking about, like, in a biblical sense, how he wouldn't be held accountable for murdering her because she had basically murdered him first.
Yeah. I mean, it's your typical psychopath that is
narcissistic, crazy human being.
To say what he did it's different, you know?
Yeah. And so that's kind of where Unsolved Mysteries leaves us. Like, this man is on the run.
We just got to find this guy.
Yeah, we got to find this guy. We know what he's done. He's confessed to it in multiple letters, but also claimed in those letters that he was going to end his own life too. So they're just trying to.
Where is he?
Where is he? What happened?
All right, update.
Okay. Solved. On the night of the Unsolved Mystery segment aired, a woman in a town outside of Dallas returns home from work. Oddly enough, her boyfriend, a man that she knew as Hank Queen, was parked in her driveway, which she said was weird. But his behavior didn't change much. She went inside and his strange behavior continued. He told her that his mother had fallen ill and that he needed to leave immediately, and demanded that she make some sandwiches for him to have on the road.
Pack some sandwiches.
Pan me some sandwiches. Get in the kitchen and make me some sandwiches. Mind you, she just got home from work and he is home, but she needs to pack the sandwiches. Though she does feel something is off, she couldn't quite put her finger on it. As Hank gathered clothes, personal items, and loaded into the van. And Unsolved Mysteries does this insane, like, B-roll footage or whatever, the reenactment actors. It is showing this man running through the house, basically panicking if this woman walks anywhere near the living room.
Because the Unsolved
Mysteries segment is on in the living room.
I'm like,
why didn't you just turn the TV off, my guy?
I'm pretty sure. Like, I think he probably just turned it off. They make it because we get this update from Unsolved Mysteries.
Yeah.
So you get told the story. Now this
They
is
just really leaned. Whoever was directing this one really leaned
leaned
into the
into it.
storytelling.
Supposedly he had it on and he was trying to keep her away from the television so that she wouldn't see him on the TV.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty sure that didn't happen.
I don't know. I it has got to happen to somebody where they were watching this and realizing that, oh, this is my story and the person next to me has no clue about my past. Cuz then I want to be like, "Girl, you are in danger." This woman's lucky in my opinion to be alive.
Yeah. Yeah. No, 100%.
Yeah.
I mean, she's lucky that she was at work and not watching this.
Yeah. And so she packs him up some sandwiches and he gets in the van and leaves. And she said that she just had a feeling that this would be the last time she would see him. She was kind of sad. And
Now she's grateful.
I'm sure she's thankful now. That night, she saw the Unsolved Mysteries broadcast. Hank Queen wasn't Hank at all. Dun dun dun. He was Dennis Dupree, and she immediately contacted authorities. Around 4 a.m. on the Louisiana Mississippi border, state troopers spotted the van. Dennis led them on a 15-mile high-speed chase, blasting through 2 police barricades. Deputies at one point were ordered to shoot out his tires. They attempted to shoot out the front tires, missed, but took out both the back tires. He continued to drive for a while on his rims.
Yeah.
Didn't go well for him. The van skidded to a stop at one point. So Dennis leans over, grabs his firearm, and starts shooting at police through his windshield.
Yeah, they show pictures of the shootout.
Yeah.
Of like the aftermath.
Yeah. And then the police heard one final shot. Dennis had turned the gun on himself and ended it all. And
that's your update.
That's your update. He's no longer here. Sometimes the trash takes itself out. This guy, guys, maybe he wasn't the actual gargoyle that we were all as confused about in the movie Jeepers Creepers when that made its appearance. But this man definitely looked like a troll in real life. He was one of the most fugly looking human beings I'd ever seen in my life.
Yeah, he was.
How he got a girlfriend, I will never know, let alone a wife.
Yeah, it was wild.
Yeah.
Wild story. I just feel terrible. I mean, those kids,
poor children,
saw what he did in front of them
and got help immediately.
And now they are completely parentless.
Yeah.
And
you could tell the way the kids were acting, they already knew their dad was not a good guy.
I just hope that they turned out all right.
I hope they did too. I tried to look up.
You know what?
I think because of the popularity of Unsolved Mysteries, this segment is one of the more popular ones, plus the Jeepers Creepers stuff. They've really not been very present in the world of social media.
I can't blame them.
Yeah.
And I hope they're doing okay.
Yeah.
That's all I can hope, because what they saw and what they had to deal with is pretty terrible.
Yeah. Okay. So, guys, that is our recap of season 3, episode 20. For those that don't care for Unsolved Couple banter, please feel free to exit stage right. And for everybody else, Ben,
yes,
let's talk about it. What is a movie, and we can even talk about the one we're just referencing, that you're watching super into, and then the twist is the most absurd thing you've ever seen and it ruins the whole movie for you?
I mean,
yeah.
I think we've already answered. It was Jeepers Creepers. Like my whole life, if you asked me that, not because we just talked about it, but if you had asked me this on another day where we were not talking about that, that's the one I would go to. I can't. Like I've said, I have a terrible memory.
Yeah.
I don't think I saw Jeepers Creepers in the theater.
Okay, I did.
I'm I remember watching it with my friends as a
Mhm.
teenager.
Yeah.
So we rented it and we watched it at someone's house.
Mhm.
And I'm not a big scary movie guy, but I
I
remember
love
thinking,
scary movies.
yeah, we've talked about that. But I remember thinking this was a good movie.
It was scary.
And then the end comes, and there's like 5 or 6 of us or whatever sitting here watching this movie. And it comes and he turns into that gargoyle.
Mhm. He sprouts wings.
And I remember looking at all of us, and we were all thoroughly confused. And then I just didn't know what to think about it
Mhm.
afterwards. I do remember, I think afterwards, I was like, that was the dumbest thing I've ever seen. But now it's become iconic.
Mhm.
And I think it's because it was so absurd. We all remember it.
Yeah, hopefully we're not spoiling. I mean, here's the thing: if we're spoiling this
If
movie
you're,
for you,
dude,
it's
you are
over 20
way
years old.
late to this game.
But my thing was, and I honestly remember being, I can almost guarantee that I saw this movie with my mom and sisters because they all loved scary movies, and we went to these movies together. Um, and I remember being utterly terrified. And here's the thing: I would have even been up for this being a monster, the scarecrow walks at midnight, some kind of creepy urban legend thing. I'm not even opposed to that. But when it sprouted wings in the middle of the street and took off into
I
the
think it was
sky,
in the police station or
something I
somewhere. I
was
can't
like,
remember.
to me, it seems like somebody wrote a script and then got sick or died, and someone else, not knowing what the first part of the script was, took over and was like, I have a great idea about a killer gargoyle in the back roads of nowhere, small town America. This is not in like Draculaville where gargoyles are on every freaking old castle either. Like it does not fit. It makes no sense whatsoever. And I just remember being like, they could have taken that movie in so many directions that would have been an iconic, amazing horror film. And instead,
So the other one, I think, that I didn't quite care for. There's two.
mhm,
Well, I guess I um is Sixth Sense because yeah, obviously we all were amazed. We're
yeah,
like, oh, mind blown,
yeah.
right?
Spoiler alert, if you have not seen Sixth Sense, please turn this off now.
Yeah.
I don't want to ruin this one for you, but if you,
I'm not even going to say the end.
yeah,
I'm
okay.
just saying most of us have seen it. But when that turned, then this is why I'm saying this. It's not so much that movie was great and the ending was a mind blowing
Hmm.
at the time,
Yeah.
but that was the moment. It was that movie was the moment where directors and Hollywood decided we should end movies terribly from here on out. Or
Try to do some crazy
try to do
reveal at
something
the
or
end.
end it the way people are unexpected. Because up
Mhm.
until that moment, the good guy always wins, everyone lives,
Mhm.
all that. It always ended well up
Yeah.
until Sixth Sense.
Yeah.
That Sixth Sense happened, and we went through a long phase where they decided, let's try to end this. Let's try to end movies in the worst possible way.
Yeah.
And if you go back to the late 90s to like 2004, 2005,
Hmm.
that's how movies end. Yeah, or a lot of movies.
Especially scary movies, because a lot of times scary movies you left, there was at least some resolve or something. And then,
And I'm not saying I enjoyed Sixth Sense.
yeah.
I thought that brought in an era of really
I think
creepy.
everyone just trying to have that same aha
Yeah.
moment or that shock or that twist that unless you are M. Night Shyamalan, which not even all of his twists work out well.
No, some of
Some
them
of
are
his
very
movies are terrible. Yeah.
Old, terrible.
Oh, that
Just
was
awful.
awful. And I was not expecting it to be awful.
Yeah, I thought it was so
Or
good.
Lady in the Lake, or I can't remember. That one was terrible as well. I don't think we finished. I was like, get me out. But then, like, you've got The Village, which is an incredible movie. And then the Aliens one that he did, Signs.
All right, what's yours?
Honestly, Jeepers Creepers is definitely one of them. It was another one. The original It. The
Mm,
Clown Spider. The original. And here's the thing. I love like Tom Curry. Like he Rocky Horror Picture Show, all of them. Love, 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 love. But you've got this creepy clown who lives in the sewers.
Have
And
you read the book?
no,
I've never read the book.
I've never read the book. But when the monster is revealed in the original and even in the second one, while we can do a lot more with digital and the whole imagery is better, it's this weird half clown, half spider thing. It doesn't make sense to me. It's weird. I don't get it. And it kind of ruined the story for me to the point where I wasn't even really super excited when they redid it. And I love the new one, but still, when I get to the end, I'm like, this is dumb.
The new ones they did are so good.
They're so creepy. And then for it to be a clown spider, I think people forget about that part. I think they block it out because it's stupid. But the rest of the movie leading up to it is so good, which is the same thing with Jeepers Creepers. It's so good. And then that part comes out and you're like, this is stupid. Right. And then I actually think one of the other ones that I was super disappointed with, it wasn't even a movie, it was how Seinfeld ended. It was one of the worst endings of a TV show I've ever seen in my life.
I didn't think so.
You didn't think so?
No, I liked it.
You did?
Yeah.
Interesting. So, okay, guys, let us know if you have any movies or things like that I will say Seinfeld didn't ruin it. I'll still watch it, but let us know if you have any movies or shows that like once the reveal came around, it kind of ruined it for you because the writing was absolutely terrible. And make sure to join us again next week when Ben and I recap another episode of
Unsolved Mysteries.
Bye.